Hey everybody, we're going to get started today. So, welcome to the 5th Annual Michigan Creative Educators Summit. This day is going to be a very exciting day, and I think you're going to be amazed at some of the things you're going to see and hear and witness. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome Senator Gretchen Whitmer. She's going to kick the day off and say a few words. So, thank you.
Good morning. Guys, I have your museum. You can be a little more interactive. This is about being creative, am I right? And about learning from one another, and about raising your voices on behalf of the shared goals of this group, and the goals are amazing. So excited to have you all here in East Lansing. I'm Gretchen Whitmer, the senator from this area, but I'm also the Democratic leader in the state Senate. And I think that it's so fantastic to see your agenda today and all the neat things that are going on. As a mom of 2 girls who I just dropped off at school, I can tell you that this is the future. This is how we should be educating our kids. This is how we grow our economy. What we know and what you know is hands-on as people who are educating kids, but also as kids who are taking advantage of all these great things that are going on in your various districts around the state, is that as we move forward, the key to being successful is learning how to think. It's learning how to use deductive reasoning. It's learning how to be creative, adaptive with different cultures and different people and different ideas. These are the skills that we so desperately need, and unfortunately, the way that we've geared our education over the years is through standardized tests, which don't teach those things. And that's why this program is so important, and that's why, as you go through this, and as you look to the future, that you take an active role in educating my colleagues and the people who are making decisions about how we prioritize our state budget as we look to the future. And one of the things that we're seeing is that so many people in your generation do not look at public service as an opportunity, but as a road bump that you got to find out how to navigate around. What I'm hopeful is that some of you one day will be in the position I'm in and helping to drive a system that embraces and encourages and invests in this kind of a program. But until then, we're going to keep trying. But I'm excited to see an organization like this and a program like this really doing the work that unfortunately my colleagues haven't quite embraced yet, haven't been smart enough to embrace yet. So I look at the future leaders of our state here, and I hope that you will look at that as a possibility for you as you move forward in your lives. So welcome to East Lansing, welcome to the Road Museum. Have a fantastic day. I would much rather sit here and go through this agenda with you and not go back where I'm headed. But I think that this is really exciting, and I appreciate the invitation to kick it off this morning. And have a fantastic day today. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. So happy you're here to begin this day of opportunity. This day of exploring innovation, a day of sharing, a day that hopefully will be rich in stimulation that will help us move into the future in a way that has the potential to serve the common good. So to do that, I really want you to start thinking about that. It's a day about you. It's a day about your ability to connect and converse and to dream. So the first thing I want you to do is to look up. I don't know if you've taken time to kind of think about what you're surrounded by, but this is creativity in ways that are uncommon. As we are in the road today, please look up, look to the right, look to the left, look at the angles. This building in and of itself can be a stimulation for your thinking about the possibilities of the future. This building is an innovation. So that's the first thing, is to be really aware of what's around you in the sense of the building. The other thing I really want you to do is to be aware of who you're around. And so we're going to start by the concept that drives the day is really this concept of thinking outside the box. That if we think in ways we've always thought, what we will end up is what we already have. Okay? So that's not why we're here. You know, we're here to think in ways that will take us into the future. So, what I'd like to do is to have you, and you're going to have to allow me to interrupt you because we're going to get chaos here in a minute. So, when you hear me hollering, come back and listen again. But I want you to stand up and turn to someone you don't know. So that may be behind you, so you may be talking a row or two or whatever. And I want you to think about something from your history, from your past, where you were involved in out-of-the-box thinking. And share that. And then in 60 seconds, I'm going to say switch. So if you're in, I want you to choose, one person's talking, when I say switch, the other person talks. So we get two stories about sharing the past in relationship to thinking out of the box. Understand? Go for it. I'll interrupt you in a minute. Where we're coming from in relationship to thinking outside the box. In the jelly spoons, go ahead with it. We're probably good shit. Anyway, I'm going to go on hoping I get to eventually. The challenge, where are we all sit down? There we go. So the challenge is to shift from moving away from the past to moving toward the future. When we think of to rather than from, the whole frame for our thought process becomes more full of opportunity, more full of the potential, more full of possibility. And so this time, what I'd really like you to do is, we're going to give you longer before I ask you to switch. It'll be probably about 2.5 minutes before I ask you to switch. But this time, I want you to think to the future and dream about the kind of out-of-the-box thinking that fires you up, that gets you excited, that you want to be part of. And again, if it's in twos, when we switch, your partner will get a chance. So please, think now, not where you're coming from, but where you're going to with your out-of-the-box thinking. So find your partner, dream together. I'll interrupt you in 2.5 minutes. Today is a day of opportunity. It is a component of an ongoing conversation about the future. We have a chance to be stimulated, to stretch, and to contemplate. What I'm asking is that we also engage. And that's when we started with engagement. Connecting with each other. We need to connect today with each other, with ideas, and with the future. So I welcome you. I'm so happy that we're beginning with such a vibrant group of people in this wonderful space. And I think that it's on to who's next? Come for it, okay.
Welcome to the Broad Art Museum. My name is Aimee. I'm the director of education here. And really, we're so happy you're here. We're so happy to be hosting you for the second year in a row. And I just want to encourage you to keep thinking about education, not in the way you're taught to think about education in your school systems, but how people like Kim and Jason and Jeff are helping you think about education in a different way. Here at the Broad, we're really connected to thinking, quote unquote, outside the box, an experiential education, which means you learn by doing. So please continue to learn by doing. Welcome, and I give this over to Leyna. I too want to welcome you to the Broad, and also I want to let you know, all of you folks standing in the back, we sure would love some company up in the front. We've got a couple of empty rows, so move forward. I see a bunch of people standing, your weary legs. Come on. All right, slowly. I'm Leyna. I manage the education department here, and I've had the pleasure of working very closely with J and K, as I call our team creativity. And I'm thrilled to have all of you here. So I just actually want to say a couple of quick thank yous that are really important. We've got kind of a fleet of road folks on the back end doing a lot of work. I really want to thank Aimee for being so supportive of having everyone here, and thank Adam and the facilities team for doing so much work. And I also really want to thank all of the Rockstar students. You guys blow my mind. Every time I get to work with you on this event, and when I have the chance to come into the classroom and visit you, you absolutely blow me away. This is a really talented, really confident group of students, and I've got to give a little bit of credit to your Rockstar teachers. I'm so totally because I think it's innovative, creativity-loving, passionate teachers like them who really get this kind of thing going, this kind of thinking gaining momentum in our community. So thanks again for being here. Come back to the Broad. Also, sign up for summer camp. We have a high school program this year, and this weekend is Family Day. So if this is your first time here, please come back all the time. We want you in the building. Today, we'd like to talk a little bit about an enterprise that myself, I'm Kim Mathiot, this is Jason LaFay and Jeff Croley, we have been working on, and we'd like to announce today the launch of the Michigan Creativity Group. And this is a venture that we hope will drive educational reform from the ground up in terms of creativity, project-based learning throughout the state of Michigan. And as you heard today from Senator Whitmer, from Jerry Jennings, from Aimee and Leyna, that this is the future of education. What we want to see is that we drive as educators and students, because really it's all about you. This is why we get up in the morning. This is why we do what we do, is because of you. So in the future, what we're hoping is that we're going to start having meetups throughout the state of Michigan so that people can come together and talk about and show the things that they're doing so you're not working in isolation. The health, the economic health of our state and our country is all about the health of education. If we can drive the health of education to be better than ever before and stop doing things as we've been doing all along, what we're going to see is an incredible zeitgeist of just incredible project-based learning and a drive to the future. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Jason LaFay. He's going to take it from here.
I want to thank them. She did a fantastic job in all the English. That's why we're here today. But I want to compliment you guys, everyone in this room, because you're all amazing people. You all do great things day in and day out, students, teachers, parents, community members alike. So please give applause to you guys, because you're going to do the change. You're going to make this state and this state court system the best there is, and you're the drivers of it. We merely are the aggregators. But first, I want to thank the Eli Native Road Art Museum for hosting this event. They've done an amazing job of working with us. We're not always the easiest to work with. I want to thank Two Perspectives, Learning Through Leadership, for their sponsorship, and of course the DeWitt Creativity Group. Special thanks to Jackson County ISD. Brad Wilson is live streaming the kind enough to live stream the event on YouTube. If you're interested in that, it's the link to the live streaming is bit.ly /MICHCES1, and then in the afternoon it will be 2, following all of that. So bit.ly /MICHCES1. And then KnowledgeWorks, Tim Hortons for the donation of the food, Carl Klemek, Aspiring Games Foundation, Becky Palmer Scott, Jerry Jennings, of course, our wonderful host, Cindy Gomez, Brad Wilson again for this great work, Matt Stahauer, who made the Michigan Creativity Group banner, Leyna, Lightman, and Aimee Shapiro, and again, all of you, thank you. Together, we're going to change, and we're going to do it. And to quote Jim Morrison, I don't know if that's appropriate or not, we're going to break out and through to the other side.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Jeffrey Croley, and I'm a member of the Creative Leadership Opportunities for Social Innovation class at DeWitt High School, and an avid member of the DeWitt and Michigan Creativity Groups. I'm a social innovator and change agent who wants to make a positive difference while using creativity, innovation, and technology as my fuel to do so. We have a great day planned for you and are honored to have each and every one of you here today. To start things off this morning, I would like to formally introduce to you a supporter of change, education, and creativity. Jerry Jennings joins us today from the Michigan Association of School Administrators, where he is currently the Associate Director of Courageous Journey. Jerry has been involved in education for many years, taking on the roles of teacher, superintendent, university professor, and inspirational speaker. He has done extensive work and research in the areas of staff development, educational policy, and leadership. Jerry can often be found wherever there is something creative going on. As a supporter of the local theater scene and longtime advocate for the arts, he understands that creativity and innovation play an extremely important role, not only in educating tomorrow's leaders, but also in building relationships, strengthening communities, and enhancing economic development initiatives throughout the region and across the state. On behalf of the Michigan Creativity Group, we thank you for being here with us today, and we are grateful for your ongoing support of young people and creative minds anywhere. Please put your hands together and join me in welcoming a very proud new grandfather, Mr. Jerry Jennings.
Now you know who was talking to you. Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate that very much. And really, my next opportunity is just the best. This day is being turned over to the students, and it starts now.
DeWitt Research and Development Lab, founded by Brian Byars 3 years ago, is a student-led research program where students work on projects and research of their choosing. This year's projects are 3D printing, mechanical force, math accelerators, and piezoelectricity and transportation. Please give it up for the students of DeWitt Research and Development Labs.
Hi, I'm Brian Byars. I'm the facilitator of the DeWitt Research and Development Lab. I have quite a few of our researchers with us. Nice to see you, Mr. Purva. And we're going to have 2 or 3 of them come up here to talk to us. We'll have a few more in case you have extra questions for them. I'm just going to give you a brief outline of our class, and then they will talk about some of the stuff they've been learning and what they've been working on. 3 years ago, I was presented with the opportunity of forming whatever I wanted for a course, basically. And I was told, can you do something amazing? And I said, well, really what I need to do is get out of people's way. And so I changed my role from being a teacher to being a facilitator and letting students run wild with their passions. They come to my course and they're given 2 pretty succinct rules that they have to live by. The first one is they have to have a goal where they change the world, and the second is they have to make $1 million. So that's our standard. I'm still waiting on number 2, patiently. And what we have found is that if we let the students follow their passions and get out of their way, we can do amazing things. And we took almost all aspects of traditional classroom and threw them out the window and kind of let the students run with it. And I'm going to let them talk to you for a minute about it so you can see it. And why don't some of you come up to speak, and a few more of you come over here for questions, please.
Hello, I'm Sarah Schuster.
I'm Chris Rubin. I'm Cam Robinson.
We're all in the research development lab at DeWitt High School. We don't not have a teacher. Mr. Byars is our facilitator, and he's in the room teaching a chemistry course while we're doing our 3D printing. That was our project that we all wanted to do this year, and that's what we started to make $1 million. So far, it hasn't worked out, but we're happy there. And so when we're in there, we're all working on our own. We all work together by ourselves, and we're trying to do things differently, learn courses like chemistry, calculus without having textbook, without standardized tests. We're all doing things different. And that was our main goal this year. We're trying not to just be a number in the classroom, but actually be a part of society outside the classroom.
Yeah. So I guess I'll give you a little synopsis of kind of what we've done this year. But first, we said we got a 3D printer, and what we did, we actually ordered a kit offline. But when we got it, it's completely in pieces. I mean, there was nothing put together previous for us. So the only instruction that we had at all for this course was we had to watch YouTube videos on how to assemble this printer. And it took too long, a couple months, for us to finally get it all together. And through the course of that, we encountered a lot of problems. And I mean, it was basically with us. Like, we had to solve everything. Every now and then we'd have to go to Mr. Byars and ask him a question. Of course, whenever we went to him, he would know it right away. I mean, honestly, if he would have came in and helped us, if he just felt like it, he could have had it done way quicker. But he wanted us to do it by ourselves and figure it out by ourselves. Because that's the point of this entire class. And so we got the printer in October. We got it somewhere in October, and I don't think we really finished it until about January. That was our first one, and now actually we made our own printer with the one we have. So now we have 2, but like over this whole course, we had so many problems. I mean, there's points when some of us have gotten so frustrated with everything that's going on instead of leaving the classroom, just take a walk and whatever. There's so many problems. It's really like a roller coaster. We had like our first day when we finally got something figured out, it was awesome. It's one of the coolest things. We finally had our first print after we assembled this thing. That was probably one of the coolest things I've done all year. Right? It is the coolest thing I've done all year. But this whole course, like I said, is he let us run wild with our passions, what we wanted to do, and that's exactly what we did. I look forward, like I go to school so I can go to this class and do what I want. I mean, I stay, my 4th hour, I don't have to be there, but I stay there and go and work on the 3D printer and mess around with that just because I want to be there. And, when I go home and hook stuff up or research something, it's not homework. It's like a hobby. It's what I want to do. And so this whole thing, it's the coolest class I've taken all 4 years at DeWitt High School. And without it, I've learned so much, like problem solving, teamwork, everything that goes along with it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we learned because we didn't have a textbook, because we didn't have a teacher really. And when he said he's not a teacher, really, it's not. Like, we walk through the hallways with like a power drill on one hand, we're about to go drill something. Kids would see us like, well, who's your teacher? What class are you? Like, we don't have a teacher. I guess technically it's Byars, but he's not there. We kind of do what we want. And they just kind of look at us weird and just walk away. And that's how it is. That's how it's been all year. So it's really, like I said, it's been one of the coolest things we've done all year. And I'm very glad to be part of it.
One thing to touch on what Chris said, it took us about 4 months to build the first printer. And I mean, the big negative on project-based learning is, oh, you don't do anything, you don't learn anything. We built the second printer in about 2 weeks, just from all the experience we had from the first one. So I think it just shows how much we learned from mistakes and Mr. Byers not giving us the answer. I mean, we remember the stuff. So I mean, I think it speaks volumes about what we did.
Hey, I'm Devin. I'm a part of the Research and Development Lab, but I'm not part of the main group, which builds a 3D printer. Because the class doesn't actually have any main direction, he gives us a good idea that most people can go off on, but he lets us research and do whatever else we feel could be exciting. And I was in a group that wanted to just go do something crazy on the cutting edge of science. So we went and researched and we found something called mechanophores, which is it's a really specific polymer that was created by some scientists in the UK. And was replicated by professors at like Duke in Illinois, and that was it. So we couldn't find it in books or on the internet or anywhere. We had to go right to the horse's mouth to find the information. So we were forced to like email and talk with PhDs and professors from around the world, even because I had email from some from the UK and from Canada. So the class pretty much knocks down any kind of boundaries we have with presenting and speaking to people. We've been to multiple conferences. We've had to talk to people. There was one time in the beginning of the class where we kept having to call up companies because we couldn't figure out how to get machines to work in the room. Because we were trying to use parts from like old broken printers that were just going to get thrown away to build other things, but we were taking them apart. We had to call people up, and we called like Exxon 4 or 5 times to try to figure out how the printer works, and they just kept yelling at us because they thought we were trying to steal their technology. But the classes itself runs as a whole different atmosphere. Once you walk into that room, we've got music blasted on a speaker that we built out of a bunch of old scrap parts that we found. At any given time, there's like 4 kids soldering things together. There's people doing homework on the board. The class as a whole is just, they're usually working on the 3D printer. You got a bunch of guys building it. You got guys taking it apart because it's broken. There's guys on computers trying to get the scanners to work, trying to draw things up in SketchUp. The class is he just kind of said go, and we've all formed many different skills and just attributes coming out of that classroom.
One thing we did mention is we're actually a business too. We've had a couple sales like $10. I guess that's a business. But we'll print stock and we'll sell it, and then we talked about 40 minutes what we're going to charge, and that was a big thought for an argument. Like we figured it out. So I mean, I think it's pretty cool that we have a product we can sell to people. I don't know. I think it's pretty awesome. Any questions? Yes. Go ahead.
I have a question for 4 of you. 3 volunteers and the 3 of you, as a result of these volunteers, whoever takes away this book, as a result of this class experience, how would you answer in 1 word or 2 words, either as a result of this, I am more, or I am less? I'll take 3 volunteers and I have 1 word for 1 person. So I am either more or less as a result of this class. I personally.
I am more independent.
Elaborate
But yeah, you want us to elaborate or no?
No.
Okay.
I am much more intelligent.
That's you,
I am a better problem solver.
Second question for one person there is, one of the adjustments education industry folks are trying to make is to draw more females into the There's an obvious imbalance.
Ellie?
Why are you in this class, and why do you think other females are not?
Well, I took this class because it sounded really interesting and different, and I wanted to experience something different. And I think more girls don't take this class because they might think it's more on engineering or more building things. But there's also a lot of ideas that need to be put into it, and I know most girls don't like engineering or like are more of the idea people, I guess. Sometimes.
Can I zero in on that for a second? Because there's a lot of debate and discussion as to females not really tending to take their interest toward engineering type things. Can you enlighten all of us and explain why?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't speak for all girls, obviously, but yeah, I'm not quite sure why that is, but there's definitely a lot of potential for girls to get into it, and obviously this class would be great to go into and get into the skills and learn new things.
I will just add on to that before I grab this tape. We have two young ladies who are freshmen who are, they're not enrolled in the course, but they audited. So, like I said, it's very untraditional. So those two young ladies tend to come in often, like 3 or 4 days a week. And it's good to know that the first year of the course ran was all female with one male. So it kind of ebbs and flows. Miss Tate?
I'm curious to hear from some type of looking at how your creative thinking skills develop and how you are able to vision and problem shoot and change the way you think as a result of this seminar type class.
It's probably, I'm Jeff, by the way, I'm the first group of probably the main thing that has changed with my problem solving skills is that I've been able to think more analytically. I've been able to solve my own problems without being able to go ask another teacher, because sometimes they'll ask if I actually try to be like, joke it up. Sorry about that. Anyways, as I was saying, like Byars would be, I go ask him a question, and it'd be a college chemistry question, and he'd be like, I don't know, figure it out. So we had to go out and find organic chemistry books, study them, figure out how everything worked. We had to analyze all of our problems from the mess of a research paper that Illinois had given us, and for our instructions and things like that.
We're going to wrap this up because we're going over time. You guys can kind of head back. We will have another question and answer session later that the guys and ladies would love to talk about. And I'm obviously available the entire time. Normally we talk, I think we normally go for an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we obviously have lots to say. What we have found in our realm is that if we let their passion go, they keep motivated. The thing I want to leave you with, and this is something I tell a lot of educators, and they ask, what's the huge benefits for our program? A little more than half of those were seniors that you saw. For a lot of schools, the seniors right now are starting to check out. And, it's after spring break, graduation is on the horizon. I had 3 different seniors come to me yesterday asking, one, if it was okay after they graduated if they came back to work. One wanting to know when they can come in during the summer to continue their research. And one saying, how can you set this up online so that we'll know whenever you walk into the school so we can show up and continue our research? That's the kind of motivation we're doing.
it's just fantastic to do research and development lab. It's amazing. Mr. Byars and students never cease to blow my mind, so it's good to have that happen. The next group, the school district that's going to present is one of the most that I'm excited about, and glad they participated. I just want to just very quickly tell a brief story about how this relationship kind of developed. I was fortunate a couple months ago to go to a little neighborhood meeting held by Pinckney, who's head of the transformation team at the Lansing School District. And I got to meet them through this vehicle. He was so welcoming and so interested in a lot of things that we were doing at DeWitt and regionally. And then he told me a lot of the great things going on in the Lansing School District. And some of them I knew about, but a lot of them I didn't. And I think we tend to forget the great things that are going on in lots of school districts. It's going on everywhere. So it was a real honor and pleasure to meet Ben. He's been so supportive. And Ben, could you just stand up real quick, if you don't mind? Just give him a hand. And these great leaders and students, they're changing minds and building on a great foundation and making it even better in a leader of innovation. So I just want to introduce Ben. This is Emily Oberlitner, correct, and Ann Jones from Post Oak Elementary School and Eastern High School. They're going to talk to you a little bit, and students, about the International Baccalaureate program. And we're so thrilled to have them. And I'm telling you, watch out for Lansing because they are going to blow your mind next year.
Good morning. My name is Emily Oberlitner, and I'm the IB coordinator at Eastern High School. We have a few students who are going to talk after we have our talking. So we'll introduce them in a little bit. So thank you. So Eastern High School is the first high school in the Mid-Michigan area to have an International Baccalaureate program, which started in the 1960s in Switzerland for basically for diplomat students, students whose parents were diplomats all over the world, so that there could be a common curriculum and that they would have some common information so that they would be accepted at schools in their home countries. So that is the whole purpose of why this organization started. We became an authorized IB school in 2006, and so we are authorized for the 11th and 12th grade for the diploma program. And then we are in the candidacy phase for our middle years program, which is 7th through 10th grade. And then we were authorized in 2011 for the Post Oak Elementary School for the QIP, which is the primary years program. So between our two schools, we have a pre-K through 12th grade IB program. IB is very much project-based in all grades, and it really focuses on the teacher redesigning lessons so that they're all student-centered instead of teacher-centered. So they are supposed to not be traditional. So we're trying to flip things. And the biggest thing about the IB that continues all the way through is the learner profile, which is right here. So the whole idea is that we as adults, and when we look at a kindergartner, we are all striving towards these attributes and characteristics, and they are sometimes very difficult to achieve, but it's kind of like the ebb and flow of life, I guess, and that's what you look at with the learner profile journey.
Okay. Our QIP program is, as Emily said, pre-K through 6. It starts at Post Oak this year, and it goes into Pattonville, and next year the whole pre-K through 6 program will be moved back to Post Oak. One of the things we're probably most famous for at Post Oak is the second language, which is, they call it language B. And at Post Oak we have Mandarin Chinese as our second language. And with that, we have the students, they have the choice to either learn that second language 30 minutes a day, which most of you would probably know of the 30-minute Chinese language class, or the students can choose to do an immersion program, which is part of the IB, where the students are learning the content, which is the same content for every grade, but it's delivered in Chinese, so it's a true immersion-based program. And next year, our program, immersion, will be moved into the MYP at 7th grade. So that's probably the one thing that most people know about our school district. We have some samples of student work back in our table back there. If you want to see what a PYP student work looks like, a project-based summative assessment, what a project-based portfolio looks like, where it shows how the students are learning. through transdisciplinary programs. That means that the themes connect all of the subject areas.
Okay, so for Eastern High School, we're a 7th through 12th grade school, and our 7th through 10th graders are all, every single student. We have a cognitive impaired program, all the way through our advanced honors classes in 10th grade. All students are a part of the middle use program. And the thing that connects them, first of all, is the learner profile. The second is the unit plans that the teachers create at the levels of their students, and then the project. And so we're doing a community-based project which links to the 11th and 12th graders. So our current 11th and 12th graders, the kids we have with us today are all seniors. So the 11th and 12th graders begin projects in 11th grade and they finish them in 12th grade. So that helps link because the PYP kids in 6th grade do an exhibition project. The 10th graders complete, it's called a community project. And then the 11th and 12th graders complete both an extended essay, which is a research paper, and SNCCAS projects, which are service projects. So for the middle years program, the biggest thing is that we are required to have all 8 subject areas for all students in 7th through 10th grade, which is a big deal because of funding with electives. So it requires Eastern High School to have 8 subject area electives for all 7th through 10th graders. So that's a really good thing for our students because that means that we can't skip art. So you can choose art, a visual arts class, or a music class, but you're going to have one of them. So that's really nice, as well as the language, which is considered the 5th core. So you have your 4 main subjects, plus you have your second language, and then you have your electives to round it out. And so the whole idea is to have balanced students that are not focused in one area. Okay, so for them, for 11th and 12th grade, this is a diploma program. And the best thing about the diploma program is that kids experience college and high school. And they have the ability with people like myself and other teachers to have support in school. And I follow them, I nag them, I remind them about things that need to be done. So that never happens in college, or it rarely happens in college from my experience. And it really helps them have a really good foundation. The kids will find out on July 7th that they earn college credit. And these guys will probably, most likely, earn 32 credits of college credit at either U of M, Michigan State, Harvard, and a variety of other places. So we're really proud that we are able to offer the 11th and 12th grade program because it challenges all of our students to at least take one diploma class, which prepares them for college or many. So they may take up to 6 college classes over the 2 years. Plus they complete a 4,000-word research paper called the extended essay. They complete a philosophy class before school. That's called the TOK, the Theory of Knowledge. And they also complete CAS projects, which are service projects of their choosing, which are 150 hours, but that's easy. So, so they are really well-rounded and prepared for college by the time they're finished.
So we thought instead of us telling you about our students, we'd like to meet some of our students. If our students could come up and we'll let Madison introduce our speakers.
Our first student is Lucy Jen. She's a PYP student at Post Oak Elementary School.
Hello, my name is Lucy. I like Ivy School because they have nice teachers. They can teach you how to be principals. I like to learn Chinese at Post Oak because it's fun and I like how it sounds. And I get to see my friends who live by me how to speak Chinese too. We have one lesson fun, one they're afraid. I like Post Oak because they can sing.
Our next speaker is Claire Hicks, and she is an MYP IP student at Pinckney. PYP. 大家好，我叫宋田，我上一年级，我要告诉大家我的IB 学习经历。IB 上路很棒，因为可以学习汉语，汉语让我开阔了我的视野和眼界。我们还可以学做一个作业，比如我和我的好朋友莎莎做了一个介绍是从远做的章节。我们让学习了人类成为不是会游泳的人。我们学习如何成为全面发展的人，富有同情心的人，有原则的人，重新开阔的人，知识拥抱的人，思考者、参与者、教育者、反思者和敢于冒险的人。明年我会去一所高中继续学习汉语，我很高兴到高中毕业时，我可以拿到 IB 的毕业证。我希望你可以成为一个 IB 项目的学生。
Hello, my name is Chloe Hicks. I'm a 6th grader at Pattonville Academy. I'm here to tell you about my IB experience. IB is an awesome program that allows me to learn a second language, which is Chinese, along with my regular academics. Mandarin Chinese will help me with many things in life, including translating for people, speaking in Chinese for my profession, and comprehending in Chinese for my profession. Not only does IB allow me to take a second language, it also allows me to guide my studies with key concepts. These are quite useful with some of the assessments and projects. For example, my friend Sasha and I made a poster of a solar system that we created after researching how systems work using the key concepts, form, function, and connection. In addition to the key concepts of the second language, I also strive to be caring, balanced, a thinker, principled, knowledgeable, and inquire, open-minded, a risk-taker, a communicator, and reflective. By showing these attributes, I hope to create a better and more peaceful world. Next year, I will be attending Eastern High School in hopes of pursuing my second language in more depth than I already have in the primary years program. I am especially excited about 11th and 12th grade when I will become a full IB diploma student. I hope you have found what I say here interesting and enlightening. For you too, maybe an IB student someday.
And really quick, my name is Madison Jones, and then we have Nicholas Kilpatrick, and we're seniors at Eastern High School, and we're going to speak about the diploma program. So I've been in the diploma program for 2 years, and I think the most important thing that I've gotten out of it is just thinking about the way that I learn and having the option to pursue that, because not everyone learns the same, and with the IB program, teachers are really open to just kind of letting you learn the way you learn and learn it better. And like a lot of self-direction, for instance, in biology, we design our own labs, and then we have to perform our own labs, and then we have to write up our own labs, and we're given very little direction by our teacher. She gives us a topic. For instance, she gave us human systems, and you have to design a lab within that topic, and it's really, really broad. And then one thing that I want to explain is the CAS project that Ms. Oberlitner talked a little bit about. So the CAS project is a 150-hour service project, and it's anything you want. For me, my CAS project ended up being a bunch of different things, but my main focus was starting the Quaker pep band at my school. We had the marching band, which I'm drum major of, that performed at the football games. We never had anyone performing at the basketball games. So I started that, and it was like the first club at a school that incorporated the 7th and 8th graders as well as the high schoolers. So we were all working together, 7th through 12th grade. And the first year, which was last year, was started. We only had about 9 people, like a flute, like a drum set, kind of lame. But this year it grew so much more. We had more people. We had brass. If you've never heard a pep band without brass, it doesn't sound that great. So with brass, it sounds a lot better. So just seeing how it's grown from just 1 year is amazing. And then freshmen this year who are planning on being IB students are already planning on continuing it next year. So that's awesome. And that's all I have, and we're going to let Nick speak about the extended essay.
I'll try to keep it brief. We're running a little behind schedule, I think. And what I want to talk about mostly for the extended essay is different people find value in different parts of the experience of the diploma program. For me, the extended essay was the most daunting task. It was
the most overwhelming to start with, but at the end, I found that was the most valuable. Students, it's a 4,000 word cap that rounds out to be up to 20 pages on the paper. And I did my extended essay on the automotive industry in the United States and the influence of automotive design from the introduction of cars in America all the way to the increased Ford influence in the 1960s. It was a really great opportunity to do independent stuff where you chose your own topic, you chose a mentor, and you took your own approach to writing an essay. Some people just decided to gather a lot of books and write their essay chronologically as they read their books. I took the approach of getting a lot of notes, I think I got 12 to 15 pages of just handwritten notes from my books. Then I organized them by category I wanted to do them in, typed out my notes, and then I converted that all in. My essay ended up being 3,994 words, it was 19 and a half pages, and I find it to be the most valuable part of the diploma program for me because it prepares me for what we're going to be doing in the future. I kind of like to refer to it as your master's thesis for high school, because it's a similar experience from what I've heard there. You have to choose your own topic, you have to research something for an extended period of time. Most of us work on it for a year to a year and a half. So it's something that's in your mind a long time. It's something you take a more personal investment in. It's something that, whereas some school things you feel forced to do where you feel like, oh no, I have to do this assignment, your extended essay is something that you feel more pride in working on, where working on it, sometimes I would forget that I was doing work and I would just get enjoyment. I would keep reading and have to remind myself to make notes. Because I've always been interested in cars. I read magazines since I was 12. So it was interesting to take something that I was interested in casually and change it from just reading and absorbing information where it's easily accessible to seeking out information and making connections and analyzing trends in the history of something. So everyone, I think, took a very different approach to their extended essay. It's all different topics. A lot of people do history. Some people try to do something more science-related or math-related. And I think the CAS project, theory of knowledge, and extended essay, the core of the IB diploma curriculum, are really what sets it apart from any standard high school approach.
All right, and lastly, we just want to introduce all the seniors. It is decision day for all the seniors, so at our school we have kind of a spirit day where we are encouraged to wear our college gear. So we have Jeffrey Mills. He is really going to Michigan State, but he woke up late. And then we have August Rover, who's attending Harvard next year, so that's fancy. And then we have Nick again, he's going to Michigan State as well. And then, once again, I'm Madison Jones, and I'm going to the University of Michigan. So, let's try to walk around Michigan State without getting beat up.
One panel discussion where people will be able to ask questions. Thank you. As we're setting up for the next group, who I just sort of learned about their program, the NBA Voice Section had released an article about the New Tech Network, New Tech program that's really spreading throughout the United States. I believe we're active in over 135 high schools in the United States and Australia. And students are doing amazing things at Pinckney and community schools where the New Tech program that's going to present is going to be talking about these fine students behind me. I know their teacher, who's Matt Jerome, is also present. So while we say hi to Matt, give Matt a little shout out. Any areas? Sorry, Matt. So we're pleased to have you. I know I talked to Al Veach, who's part of New Tech as well, and helping oversee that fantastic program. And again, offering fantastic opportunities to students to do project-based learning and you apply technology in really cutting-edge way. So without any other delays, I'm going to pass it off to the students at New Tech School in Pinckney. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jake Steinheffel. I intend to go to Pinckney New Tech High School. And next year, I will be attending U of M, so I'm kind of in the territory here. I'm going to pass it on to Christine.
Hi, my name is Christine Canerva. I will be attending Western Michigan in the fall in a double major of broadcasting, communication, and political science.
Hi, my name is Christian Bolsha. I'm a senior at Pinckney New Tech High School. I plan on going to Michigan State, and I got accepted into James Madison College, and I plan on studying foreign relations and business. So, without further ado,
So, take a picture.
First off, I want to introduce, kind of explain what New Tech really is for some of you guys that may not know. The idea behind it is school's pretty much been the same since it all started. You go to class, the teacher gives you a lesson, you get a project, you get some kind of worksheet, fill it out, and turn it in, maybe you give you a homework assignment, and then you take a test over it. So the idea behind New Tech is to, you have an instructor gives you this project, gives you a rubric, and gives you 3 weeks. It just says, go for it. And the idea is, it makes you become fully self-reliant, and everything you do, you have to push yourself. The teachers aren't going to make you do things. Some days, you're just not feeling it, and maybe I'll relax a couple days. And the teachers, they won't enforce, they won't make you work. Like, if you guys want to sit back and not work today, that's going to cost you. And it's that responsibility that you have to put on your shoulders, and it really makes you learn a lot and prepare you for life. And also, it really helps you, another goal of New Tech is to get out into the community and really have an effect on your surroundings. So we do a lot of projects. We did University of Michigan came in, and we actually built model rockets for them, sent them off. They went about 1,100 feet in the air. Had to go chase them down. That was quite an adventure. We built a new public library in Pinckney, and they came to us and they said, we need an exterior design, and that's what we did. We came up and we used SketchUp and a few other programs, and we actually built the library now. That, what you see out there, was built by our students. And another goal we had was, we didn't like our furniture. We just had like tables and chairs. And so one of our first projects, everyone complained. They're like, okay, our first project, go out there, you got a budget of this much. Go find us some furniture. And that's what we did. And everyone had different ideas, and we all voted. And the chairs and tables that we use today was the project we all did. And so it's that project base that really affects us. And we want to get out there in the community and change things. That's the idea behind New Tech. Now I'm going to pass it on to Steve.
All right, so I want you, the room to be completely silent. For 30 seconds, we're going to think to ourselves what collaboration means to us. All right, so we all have an idea. Now to the person sitting next to you, I want you to share what you believe collaboration means to you. So now collaborate. Who found a really good example of what collaboration could you please share to the group? Stand up, maybe. Anyone who wants to share what collaboration means to them? So learning and problem solving. Learning and problem solving. Any, yeah?
It's like working together,
Okay. Anyone else? One more?
26 years of marriage.
Good. So I'm from Pinckney New Tech High School. I'm a senior there, like we said before. And in New Tech, we work in groups of 4.
3 or 4 and work on a project. We collaborate with each other to form different ideas. Everyone has a different opinion. Everyone has different ideas. So when we come together and present it to the classroom, there is a more of a broader aspect of what is going on and what we believe and what we learn. So that is what collaboration is to New Tech. Next, I'm going to pass it over to Christian Polstra.
All right, so now I want you guys to think about the term deeper learning. So I want you guys to think about that for 30 seconds, and we're going to do another think, pair, share, all right? All right, now I want you guys to find a new partner and talk about what, or collaborate what deeper learning means to you. What does deeper learning mean?
I think it means like going deeper into the subject and not being so shallow about things and just trying to pass on class, like actually thinking about it. We think deeper learning means when you take basic skills or things that you've learned and apply it to a mission that you're passionate about and take it further.
As a Pinckney New Tech High School student, we are constantly engaged in deeper learning. And as a senior, I can tell you that I'm just about done with high school, and I've learned just about everything. Students, I don't know about you, but I've learned about algebra, I've learned about the hydrologic cycle, I've learned about just about everything that Pinckney High School can offer me. But what separates normal school from Pinckney New Tech is that we take these ideas and we apply them to different concepts that we find in society. I remember freshman or sophomore year, I was learning about World War I and World War II, and I got the opportunity to go to the VA hospital. I also remember in math, we were learning about precipitation and seeing if Pinckney's consumption of water is more than what precipitates. And I remember I was calling like the Department of Natural Energy at Michigan and trying to figure out how much water falls in gallons on Michigan a year. They had no idea what I was talking about, so I was constantly transferred. Deeper learning, though, is definitely a focal point of Pinckney New Tech and New Tech at large. And it's something that it's unstructured nature that really helps us evolve and helps us learn as students.
A part of New Tech and graduating, you have to complete a 40-hour internship in a field that you're interested in. I am currently doing my 40-hour internship at the Capitol building in Lansing,
where I am writing a research paper on the proposal of raising the minimum wage. So that is something that I am interested in and I can take further into my career in the future.
For my 40-hour internship, I sold products to the government. I sold barcodes, as interesting as that sounds. So I called up the government and said, hey, I can sell you these barcodes at this price, and then they either buy it or they want to buy it. Usually they buy it because I'm a pretty good salesman. But, but that's what I did for my 40-hour internship. I really got to interact with the government and how they buy products from private companies.
And I worked in the marketing department, and we sold tablets. So your iPads, your Samsungs, all those kinds of things. But the thing is that there's dozens of them out there, and the salespeople would have a hard time narrowing them down. So I created spreadsheets comparing all these different kinds of tablets and which one's right for which situation. Another thing we also got to do was, when we were learning about weather, we got to go down to the elementary schools, and we actually got to teach the little kids. And it really gave me a different perspective because I always spend all these time working with my fellow peers, and they're all high school, so they're all mature, most of them, and I can have conversations with them, and we just talk about learning. But when you go down there, I had a second grade class, and the one kid, as soon as I walked in there, he saw my name was Jay, and he looked at me, and he's like, "You stole my name." And actually, for the rest of the class, they actually hated me because I had stolen his name. So I had to find a way to work around that and still give him the information without him getting too angry at me because he was a little temperamental all day. And it's that kind of learning that you can't really get in regular school, and that New Tech gives you that opportunity to get out there and see different things about all around the world.
So these are just a couple of examples of what we do in New Tech. All of the students in New Tech are doing these. They're doing internships. They're getting out into the community, project-based learning. So I would like to end with any questions you may have with New Tech, or I will be out into the gallery and we can ask questions then. Thank you for listening. Our next presenter is Purva Shanker, a student with a great deal of drive, passion, and intellectual promise. She has spent countless hours working with the MSU research labs following her passion. She was recently one of the featured inspiring youth speakers who presented at the MSU Science Fair. Please welcome from Okemos High School, Purva Shanker.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Purva Shanker, and I'm a junior at Okemos High School. Today I will be presenting to you my research about anti-cancer properties of spices specific to liver cancer. This is my research in collaboration with the MSU Chan Laboratory. Before I start, however, I would like to extend a thank you to Mr. LaFay, the DeWitt H.S. leader, for inviting me to come here and present to you today. I would also like to thank my mentors, Dr. Christina Chan, Arisha Mata, and Irene Lee from the MSU Chemical Engineering and Materials Science Department for providing me continual guidance and support. My research focuses on cancer. Cancer is a general name for more than 100 different diseases. Worldwide, annually, almost 50% of men and 33% of women will develop some form of cancer in their lifetime. On a basic cellular level, cancer begins with an abnormal cell starts to replicate uncontrollably. This abnormal cell is formed when there is a mistake in cell replication. Specifically, my research focuses on hepatocellular carcinoma, or HCC. This is the most prevalent form of liver cancer, and this will develop in 1 to 2 years. Either a single tumor will develop in the liver and grow larger as the disease progresses, or many different small tumors will develop and grow larger. Some general risk factors for this are alcoholic liver disease, obesity, and diabetes, all of which are major problems in the United States today. Some statistics for this are annually worldwide, around 31,000 cases of HCC are diagnosed every year, and this is fatal to around 22,000 people. It is more prevalent among men, and you see a higher incidence rate in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. This is just a map that I found on cancer.org, and the red indicates the higher incidence rates, and you can see this in Southeast Asia and Africa. So the basic premise of my experiment is that I know that many herbs and spices are said to have something called an anti-cancer property, which means that they can actively fight and prevent cancer. I also know that excessive alcohol will destroy and damage liver cells. And I know that uncontrolled growth of cells is one of the main hallmarks of cancer. So my question is, how will the growth of liver cancer cells, or HCC cells, be affected when treated with alcohol as an aggravating factor, in this case it was ethanol, and a spice that supposedly has properties that were anti-cancer properties? The spices that I use are all from around South India. So I use turmeric, cardamom, and cumin. And you can find this in like Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, India. I created 13 different treatments. And when I presented this last, it looked really confusing. So I'll try to simplify it. But it was basically made up of HCC media, which is just a general mixture of nutrients that you normally would give HCC cells, ethanol as my alcohol, and a spice. I used 3 different concentrations of ethanol, and this was 50 millimolars, 75 millimolars, and 100 millimolars. And I had a total of 5 different treatment groups. So the spices that I used, I had to take them home and grind them, so I had a huge issue with preventing contamination there. But my first group was the control group, and that just had HCC media and DMSO, which is a solvent that I had to use to dissolve my spices. My groups 2 through 5 had this simple recipe, I guess. It used HCC media and either 50, 75, or 100 millimolars of ethanol, plus the same amount of either cumin, cardamom, turmeric, or just no spice at all. There are many different types of technologies to see how this affects the growth of the cells. One such technology is called the Alamar Blue Assay. In this test, I guess, we use something called a non-toxic chemical called lysozyrin to measure how viable the cells are. So this essentially uses the concept of wavelength to show you if the cells are healthy or not. So how you do this is you take this chemical and you put it in a plate full of cells. And then you incubate it for around 1 to 2 hours. The chemical is blue in color, but when placed in an environment where the cells are metabolically active, it will change to a orange, red, or red color. And then after you incubate it, you put it in this machine, and you see the intensity of the color. So the higher the intensity, the healthier the sample of the cells are. This test has to be done over the course of 2 days. And so this bar graph just shows kind of my results. So the average percentage change in intensity over the 2-day course, and then my treatments. So my first treatment is just HCC media without anything else, and I know that the cells are healthy because the average percentage change is positive. But as I add media, or alcohol, I see that my treatments with turmeric and ethanol, as well as cumin and cardamom, they seem to be negative in either 50 millimolars, 75, or 100 millimolars. So this prompted me to wonder how this goes on a basic cellular level. So I use a concept called confluency, which is kind of one of the most basic things you have to learn in tissue culture. And basically, this is a term used to describe what percentage of the area of the plate is covered in cells. So if I say that cells on the plate are 70% confluent, that means that 70% of the area of the plate is covered in cells. And this has to be healthy cells, so if you see all black, it means that the cells are dead. So the basic concept that I use is that higher confluency rates indicate healthier cells, while lower confluency rates indicate unhealthy cells. So this is what a basic HCC cell looks like without anything, any treatment at all. And these are some images that I took over 4-day time periods. So this is my control group, which was just treated with HCC media. And it's not very clear, but as the time progressed, I saw that the percentage of cells on the plate increased, telling me that they were generally healthy. The next one I took pictures of was just HCC media plus 100 millimoles of ethanol. And as the time passed, I saw that the percentage of the cells increased and the cells at the end looked very different from the cells at the beginning, telling me that ethanol really harms the cells. The next group I took images of was HCC media plus 100 millimoles of ethanol plus turmeric. And I saw that as time progressed, the amount of cells in the plate actually disappeared. They were all dead by the last day I took pictures, telling me that it wasn't ethanol, but it was also turmeric killing the cells, showing me that turmeric has an anti-cancer property because it is in fact killing the cancer cells. My treatments with cardamom and cumin were a little bit different. As the time progressed here, I saw that the amount of cells in the plate just stayed around the same level, telling me that even when treated with ethanol, the cumin seemed to just protect the cells. It didn't let the cells advance their growth rate, and it didn't let the cells die. Cardamom, it did a little bit less than cumin, but it was around the same thing where the amount of cells in the plate did not change. So this is useful in many, many different ways. Now that I've seen all of this, what I'm looking for is to find the active property in all of these spices, because that can be used to develop a drug that hopefully one day will help combat liver cancer. But I'm not saying right now that I have found anything, but I think that this field is really has a lot of potential in it, and hopefully more people will choose to research it because it can go a long way and make us one step closer to finding a cure for one of the many different types of cancer. Thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome. I tried to follow as best as I could. It's so advanced. It's so awesome to see students doing that kind of research independently on their own in collaboration with the university. Really amazing and very impressive. So what we'd like to do now is have all the groups that presented prior send one representative from each group up here. We'd like to have a little panel discussion so the audience can ask more questions or comments for the participants. So you said one person from each group. That would be great.
Do you guys have questions from the audience that will run up to you? Tell somebody else. He will run to you so you can ask questions. We're going to talk about 15 minutes on ask these folks whatever you'd like, and then we'll take a 5 minutes break and then come back to start Dr. Street's Hill. So we can open up for questions if whatever you'd like.
This is actually for some of the I have a question. It sounds like there's been a lot of innovation recently in a lot of the school areas. So for any educators, I'm just wondering, as a result of your reciprocal learning relationship with your students, how does this push you as educators, administrators, how you see yourself, what you see yourself in the future?
I'll speak real quick. I don't even like